What's going on, everybody? It's Matt from Night and Day Performance. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys a DIY method on how you can assemble engines and check your bearing clearances. Now, there are several ways that people check bearing clearances. Some people use dial bore gauges, which you measure the journals, you measure your rods, you measure the bearings. You get all your measurements together and see the tolerances between them. Some people don't have all the tools for that. You know, I have micrometers and everything back here, but I want to show you something you can do yourself at a low cost if you're just trying to rebuild your engine and you want to make sure that it's pretty close to specs. Now, of course, race engines and all, they're very tight on tolerances and you want to set them a specific way. Each engine builder will build different to whatever their specifications are. On this engine here, this is a 6.0 LS engine. And I'm going to show you guys how to use a cheaper version called the PlastiGauge. You can get these from your local parts store, Advanced Auto Parts, O'Reilly's, AutoZone, whoever you choose to use. So what it is you're going to see here, you have your measurements along the top, and it's in millimeters as well as in inches, so you can determine which one you want. And then, of course, for your clearances, it tells you the ranges that you're going to between millimeters and inches. So you just pick the one you need, either the red or the green. We're using the green on this one. And what you're going to do is you're going to rip this open. Just take a little section of it like that. So you see I have a little piece of the PlastiGauge. And you're going to open it up. See if I can do this with gloves on. It has a little adhesive that kind of likes to play, so you can rip the end off too and it helps. Alright, so inside you'll see a little PlastiGauge. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a piece and you're going to break it off the width of your bearing or your journal. Just as such. Okay, so I have my little piece here, and then I'll bring you over to the engine. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take this piece of PlastiGauge and we're going to lay it across the journal for the crankshaft. Okay, so right there in the middle. And then I have here, I have my main cap with a bearing installed that's clean, and you're going to put it in the right direction, and you're just going to ever so gently get that in place. You tap it down so it seats. And you're going to take your bolts, go ahead and get those in. Now I'm going to start these by hand, and I'm going to take my impact, and I'm not going to full send them. I'm just going to get them down to where they need to be because they have to be torqued to spec. So first I'm going to do my inside bolts. That's how it's... Okay. Alright. So now I'm going to go ahead and torque those to spec. Check your manufacturer specifications for the engine you're building on what you're supposed to torque them to. So now I'm going to go ahead and torque these to spec. 1 second, I'll be right back. Alright, so now that I've torqued those to spec, what it's done is it's compressed that PlastiGauge. Now I'm going to go ahead and take these bolts off, making sure that I do not spin the crankshaft. So I'm going to take them off using my impact. You can use hand tools. It's just, for me, it's more likely not to move if I use my impact. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now what I do is I leave the two bolts in on the outsides and I rock it back and forth a little bit to kind of break the cap loose. Okay. And then use my small pry bar and carefully work these up like that. And they'll release. So now what I have here is there's an impression right there, if you can see. It's green, it's a little shiny. But you can see the little impression. So now you're going to take your Plastigauge and you're going to match it up to which one is the closest to your clearance. So that one's a little too wide. That one is 2 thousandths, which is very close. So we're going to go with right at 2 thousandths on that one. Okay, so once you get that, it gives you a good idea of what your clearance is. So that's just something you can do. These are factory replacement bearings, but you want to make sure that you don't have too much play, too much clearance, and you also want to make sure that your aftermarket bearings that you might have put in aren't too tight, because then you can cause damage. Once you're done with this, make sure you take a little bit of parts cleaner, brake cleaner, whatever you want to call it, on a small rag. Make sure that Plastigauge gets off of your journal and your bearing. You don't want that rolling around in there. Once you've checked all your clearances, you're good to go ahead and assemble. If you liked the video, if you watched up to this point, I appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. And like I said, until next time, I'll catch you guys later. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. It's Matt from 9 Day Performance. I'm out.